welcome into Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Tuesday Tidbits and Topic Live. We're so glad to be back. It has been a little bit of a break, I guess I would say, though we don't feel like any of us have been taking breaks. So we just did a break from being live. So we are very glad to be back and have a lot to chat about. So welcome in. We will kind of, I don't know, we'll try not to be too rusty doing all of this, but welcome in. If this is your first time here, feel free to hit that like button. Let us know that you're watching. This is the bell icon to subscribe, and that way you will get updated anytime we go live or anytime we're sharing new videos as well. So I will let everyone introduce themselves. I'm Catherine Ritchie.
I'm Jennifer McCormick.
Christy Bettenhausen.
Okay, so we are all here and back. Glad to be here chatting, talking all things Disney and Universal. So we are all agents with Mickey Travels of Let's Adventure Travel. So we do this because we love it, but also get to call it our job as well. So we have a lot to chat about tonight. So if you are watching live, feel free to comment. Even if you're watching it back, we get to see those. So we would love the interaction as well. Jennifer's sharing it out on all of our pages. So if you know anyone who's thinking about a Disney or Universal trip, please share it to them as well.
We are just about shared here. So, gosh, how was your summer?
It just flew by like a blink.
I know. I think, oh my gosh, this cat never comes down here. Say hi. Oliver.
Oh,
just wants to go. Oh, no, it doesn't want to
Okay,
be.
last time we were
I couldn't even
live.
see myself until now. I'm really
was May. And in May, when we learned that Disney World was going to open for booking, I think all of us thought that we were going to have some time after that initial deluge of interest. And that didn't happen. I don't know about you, but it's been a wonderful and incredibly busy summer. Could not have done more, could not have worked with more clients. You know, it's been wonderful. But I am happy that it's fall and there's a little bit of I don't know, a more even schedule to look forward to. But I say
and plus all of us did some traveling this summer as well. So that and kids and life, and all of a sudden we all blinked and summer is now officially over for all of us. Our kids are all back in school. I think Jen's were the last today.
Yeah.
Like, and I was looking at the school calendar, like finally getting it on my calendar. Like, we've only been in school for a week, so I'm just a little behind. Because already I was like, wait, what date of school do we start and all that. Plus, I'm planning our trips for next year or getting into that, and I was like, oh, I better check schedule. So found out that our son will actually miss a few days because of our December trip. Yep, sorry, school. Like, it'll work out. We'll be fine. He's a junior. He's like close to being done anyway. It's like whatever. But I'm like, oh, better put that on my calendar. And I just feel like summer will be here again in a blink. Like, you know, we've been talking about 2024 first coming, and now here for booking all Disney things, Universal through 2024. Also, like, it seems like a ways away, but it's really not.
It's really not. Well, I mean, so much has happened since the last time we chatted. So Disney World 2024 opened for booking. That's been going really crazy. Disney World is also offering now bounce back offers, discounts. So if you are traveling to Disney World and book your next trip within 7 days of checkout, you have the option or potential option of finding really significant discounts for 2024. And so I've been helping lots of folks find those discounts when they're traveling or as soon as they get home, so that they can get the best possible option at the best possible price, because these bounce back offers, you really aren't going to see anything better than that at those locations. And so now is the time for people who are traveling at Disney World to plan their next year Disney World, if that's the plan, or even tentatively, because deposits are refundable. Yeah. But then after that, Disneyland 2024 opened for booking, and I've got some folks, and that was just about a week and a half ago, right? I have some folks responding to me now about the half marathon weekend in January, and there's nothing. You know, I had to say, all those options that were available to you a week and a half ago, here's what's left. pick
Yeah.
pick from this today, because
Yeah.
this is it, and so
Yeah.
that's rough, but that's how things happen, with Disneyland. So it's been very busy booking Disneyland 2024 vacations. Of course, I went on an amazing Adventures by Disney trip with other Mickey Travels agents. I'd love to talk more about it, but we've got some big Disney Cruise Line news. But I mean, I think the biggest thing that I learned in practice for this Adventures by Disney is it really is, everything is taken care of for you from the time that you get to the airport to the time you leave. You need to do nothing except for show up, and they take care of every single moment. So if you want free time, you can have free time. If you want to fill in some of those free moments with other activities, they're there. Optional activities, scheduled activities, transportation, gratuities, entertainment, you name it, start to finish, you're completely taken care of. And so best travel experience I've had in a long time, if ever. I mean, all I had to do was show up. I'm the planner. So
That's what I was just thinking, is like being the planner in the family, right?
And even
Like,
some
that
things we
sounds
learned,
amazing.
as planners, a lot of us were thinking about, well, how do we fill in this time or that time or whatever? And so had some maybe tentative things that we were looking at, but they took care of that too. So even in the open times, they were like, well, you've got some free time, but if you want, come join us at Ghirardelli. We'll buy you a treat and, talk a little bit more about the history of this area, or, fill in the blank. And so everything was taken care of start to finish on the trip. So fantastic. If you are a big Disney fan or just interested in learning more about Disney history, the ABD, the Adventures by Disney trip, Southern California and Disneyland, is spectacular. But when we talk about Disney, I think a lot of folks think parks. Adventures by Disney has tours, basically small group tours, both family friendly and adult only, on all 7 continents. So if you want to travel the world and travel the world with Disney taking care of you for that entire trip, look into Adventures by Disney, give us a call, because this is something that is, I mean, it's just not advertised enough. It's fantastic. So,
Well, and I think people think, oh, the characters are going to appear, like wherever I go, but it isn't.
no, not at
And
all. Yeah.
And Disney's so great about getting, access to places that other tour companies could only dream of, really.
Yeah.
That
Well,
they just don't have.
we were able to take a tour of the Jim Henson studio lot. That's not open to the public. There's no way to get a tour of that unless you are on this Adventures by Disney trip or know somebody. We were able to get to, go on a tour of Walt Disney Imagineering. Walt Disney Imagineering is super cool. Couldn't take pictures of anything, but saw like concept vehicles in, actual size for, rides that they are going to be installing. There's one for Disneyland Paris where we got to see the ride vehicle for it, hopefully very soon. Just really, really neat things that you can't see. You can't get a tour of Imagineering on your own. And so really neat backstage things. And of course, we got to go to Walt's apartment in Disneyland, and being up there and seeing what he saw with the folks walking into the park every morning. You can hear about it conceptually, but until you see it with your own eyes, it just brings it to life in a whole way. That, history to me is something that's always very, it's very distant unless I can touch it, feel it. I'm not that person who conceptualizes history very well in my own mind. And so I need to be in the spaces. I need to see the things, and just being there and seeing it gives me a whole new appreciation for what that must have been like for the creator of this world, who passed away way too early. But actually, but was able to get to see at least the opening of Disneyland Park. So it was very cool. But I hope
I love it.
someday. That's great.
Well, so you were speaking of news coming today, hence my ears. News about the new Disney treasure. What will be the sixth Disney trip?
Yeah,
No, Disney ship, not trip.
It's late. No, can you
So,
believe
so
it?
much news with that. So exciting. First we have its maiden voyage date, right?
Yeah, December 21st, 2024. I don't know about you, the Disney Treasure was announced. They had an official video. Disney Cruise Line had an official video. It's up on YouTube. Anyone can watch it now under the Disney Parks YouTube channel. It was about 30 minutes long. I've watched that 3 times so far, just for every little Easter egg. That's it, because the ship is gorgeous and it's different. The layout looks to be very similar to the Disney Wish. I think we knew that already, but it's so exciting and fun with all of the different I mean, it's got a lot of Disney IP, but a lot of Disney IP you don't see a lot of places. And so I don't know.
I'm
I'm
excited
trying to
just
figure out how
like
to
the
fit in the
theming
budget.
of it,
Yeah.
like the adventure of it, right?
Yes.
They made the video all about like a treasure hunt. And I love, like you were saying, the different movies that they're pulling in are not ones that you would think of, you know, right away, but from like classics being, you know, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like that just makes me smile. It's one of my first ride memories. It and Big Thunder Mountain are really like the only rides I remember. That's not true. And the old Skyliner that used to be in the Magic Kingdom is not there anymore.
Right.
So those 3 things are what I remember from being 5 years old, being in the Magic Kingdom for the first time. So the fact that they're going to have a pub themed 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is super cool.
Right. Well, I think, you know, the classic Disney ships, so the Dream, the Fantasy, the Wonder, and the Magic all have a very nautical Art Deco theme. They're gorgeous, they're classic. Then along comes the Wish. The Wish is a castle on the sea. When I see all of these videos now and pictures and the renderings of the treasure, I don't know if I would call it a castle on the sea. I don't know exactly how I would describe it, but I do love the adventure theming. You walk into the Grand Hall, and the Grand Hall has Aladdin and Jasmine and magic carpet, you know, more of those jewel tones. And that's gorgeous. And then if you've been on the Wish, you know, on that main level, the lounge on the Wish is Tiana's Bayou. So beautiful, a little bit more, you know, more floral, very princess focused. On the Treasure, it's the Skipper something, the Skipper Society, and it's all based on the Jungle Cruise. And who doesn't love the Jungle Cruise?
Right.
It'd be so fun. I love the
I
Jungle
think
Cruise for all of
overall,
its
just like even
corniness.
when they showed the colors, I was like, I like that this is different. Like you could just
know.
kind of tell from the beginning that it was different, and then as each part.
Right.
But again, like Chris says, that the fact that they're, you know, you don't, we'll talk a little bit more about the other things, but you don't see those a lot. And it did feel, to me, it felt very different and very
Right.
fresh that way, which is
Yeah.
cool. And a little less formal,
Right.
honestly.
I
And
had
I
that
like
same
that it doesn't
thought, like,
just
because I do
duplicate the
think,
Wish. Yeah.
yeah, that the Wish is like so elegant, right? Like it's just gorgeous. Like every space is just so pretty, you know, that it's like it feels super fancy, right?
Yes. Right.
And this just felt like super fun. Not that the Wish isn't fun. Like there's my bad verbs, like or
Yeah.
adverbs.
No, I agree. And I like that it's not super princessy focused. Not that it's not
Yeah.
gorgeous, but it's
Mhm.
pulling in everything else. So, for example, on the Wish, you've got this beautiful, the Luana Lounge is a gorgeous space where they have a lot of activities. They will have trivia there. They do the silent dance parties there. On the Treasure, it's Sarabi, and it's inspired by the Lion King. I love that. No, I mean, we don't have enough that's inspired by the Lion King, you know, especially not on a cruise ship. And so that to me is very earthy, very homey, you know, great place to have activities. So I can't wait to see the whole thing with my own eyes, but I can't figure out when it's gonna happen.
Do love that they kept like the kid clubs like super similar to on the Wish, or it seems like with the theming and everything like that,
Right.
because I think that has been such a huge hit. I mean, I think the kid clubs are fantastic on every Disney ship, but I feel like on the Wish they were just like a little bit more
It's
like
elevated.
more
It's
went
definitely
into them.
elevated. Yeah, because you've
Yeah.
got your Marvel area, and then you've got your Star Wars area, you've got your Imagineering / creators area, you've got your fairy tale hall. You have a place for everyone already on Oceaneers on the Wish. And so I'm really glad to see that it looks like that's coming back. And then Edge and Vibe are beautiful spaces, but really they're a place to gather so that you get to meet people and then you run around the ship together when you're in the tween club and the teen club. And so it looks like those will be fairly similar, which is wonderful because that's how they function on the other ships as well. So
Yeah. So I did like that. I thought they were so neat when we saw them when we were on the Wish, because obviously not being a kid, I was like, it's like so much fun. Like I'd love to go hang out in those areas, and I just think that like it's great that they kept that similar looks like it's gonna be similar for the treasure.
yeah.
And then like the room theming, like I was super excited about that. Like Up is one of my favorite movies once you get past that one part. But anyway, like I love that and the adventure of it, right? So like you can see where adventure, right, is the theme for the whole ship. And so I was super excited to see so Up and The Lion King. And
It
there's
looked like
another
for the standard staterooms, I think what I understand, it was Aladdin, Pocahontas, Up, and Encanto,
yeah.
right? And then for the concierge, it was Lion King, Jungle Book, and Aladdin. Does that sound right? That's what I wrote down in my notes.
Yeah, Jungle Book for sure. And then Epcot for the
Tower suite.
yeah, like that just
Super
that did look,
swanky. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna need to find a rich friend.
Play the
Like,
lottery.
how many people will hold if you split that, like
Just split
yeah,
it
I
with
thought it
everybody,
looked
right?
awesome. Yeah, I thought the pictures that they showed, at least like the staterooms looked amazing. Like I'm all about the veranda rooms. Like they are my favorite. I think if you're going to spend a little extra somewhere, like get a veranda room, like that veranda is worth whatever you end up paying for it, in my personal opinion.
I know it. I liked that they said that the royal suites were inspired by Bagheera and Raja. And then the pictures just looked classic and elegant, sort of Far East, really ornate, very ornate. But they looked classic at the same time. So something that isn't going to, be out of style in a short period of time. So I'd love to see it with
I loved that they have like that they're using like older movies and more current movies, like and kind of like the gamut of them, as opposed to like all newer themes or whatever. So I think that's one of my favorite things that came out of today's announcement, is like all of the different like Jungle Book, like
I would love if that would be the Broadway show that they bring. So in the video, they said that there will be an all new Broadway show yet to be announced. And so, on all the ships, there's one or two major shows. The Wish has Aladdin and the Little Mermaid. It sure looks like they planned on bringing Beauty and the Beast over from the Dream. It'd be great if they did, because it's not unusual for them to duplicate, at least one of the shows and then have something all new. So I really, really hope that it really did mean that they're bringing the Beauty and the Beast over from the Dream, because the truth is that's my very favorite thing about the Dream, is that new Beauty and the Beast that started in 2018. It's gorgeous. It's based on the movie. And so visually it is, it's really wonderful. It's so well done. But yeah, I can't wait to hear what they'll reveal as their next major, Broadway show. It sounded like it was going to be something new that they've never done before. So probably not the Lion King, unless that's been on Broadway. It hasn't been on a ship, maybe, but I'd love for it to be something like the Jungle Book. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh my gosh, I think that would be fantastic.
And
we also talked about theming for some of the restaurants. I was super excited that Marvel was coming. Like I thought it was super fun when we were at it on the Wish. I actually liked the food there. Like we saw there was a lot of grumbling today because you can't make everybody happy. You're not tacos, right? But I'm super excited for that, and that they're putting a different spin on it.
Right.
So like, even though it's similar, it's different, and
Right.
so
Yeah, they said there's
I
an
personally
all new experience and that Nick
Yeah.
Fury hasn't, completely revealed what that's going to be yet. So, but I mean, after I watched it a couple of times, it referenced the story on the Wish with Ant-Man and Wasp,
Mhm.
but sounds like we're going to get something different on the Treasure. So
Yeah, so with Spider-Man, but I hear that he has made an appearance a few times on the Wish in the Marvel Theater.
oh yeah,
So I
I've
just
seen him there. Yeah. So who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. So maybe they were trying something out that would appear it on the ship. Just never
They couldn't tell us everything today.
right. I know,
No,
which is so disappointing. I wanted
I was
them to
ready
share
to
it
hear
all.
more.
Oh,
I was ready to hear
I'm
more.
like, we're not done yet. Yeah.
Right,
Wait.
right.
Yeah.
But they did, I mean, they mentioned, the worlds of Marvel, and then they also mentioned that, then the major showpiece restaurant is going to be, what's it exactly called? Plaza de Coco. And so it'll have a Coco theme. And so again, if
Yeah.
you're familiar with the Wish, this is Arendelle. They've got the theater in the round. And I just, again, the space is going to be gorgeous. Can you
Mhm.
imagine like a mariachi band and Coco and what they could do with that space?
Mhm.
I mean, incredible. It'll be incredible to be in that restaurant and see what it looks
Yeah.
like. So yeah, so that I think is a home run. And then I'm
Mhm.
really hoping, and they didn't say this, but I'm really hoping they bring back 1923, which is one of the restaurants on the Wish, because it seems like that's what they've done on the other restaurants, and so, or on the other ships, is that the Dream and the Fantasy, for example, have mostly the same restaurants, but one major difference. And then the Magic and the Wonder have mostly similar restaurants, but then you've got Rapunzel's and Tiana's.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that that's what they're doing with this too, because 1923 is gorgeous.
I loved all the artwork in there, like the
Yeah.
official artwork that is in that restaurant. Like
Right.
I could have spent hours just wandering around looking at all that artwork in there. It's also my favorite thing on the Fantasy and the Dream in Animator's Palette is all of the artwork that's in there. So I hope that it's a 1923 restaurant
Yeah.
also.
And they haven't officially said that that's the case, but that's just kind of hoping that that's what they're doing with it. But yeah, I mean, it looks like the ship will be gorgeous. As all of us expected, it looks like the Treasure is pretty much taking on the same path as the Fantasy, though it looks like the Fantasy is continuing some sailings out of Port Canaveral, at least for the beginning of what's listed there. So that the Treasure will have 7-night sailings out of Port Canaveral, looks like Saturday to Saturday. And then from what I could see from what was already scheduled for the Fantasy, they've got Sunday to Sunday, 7 nights out of Port Canaveral. So who knows where they'll go with that. But 7-night sailings on a new ship doesn't give you quite as many options because you've got just 1 week. And so we'll see how quickly things sell out when they open for booking next week. But I expect things to go pretty quickly.
Especially because it's right around the winter holidays where kids are out of school and everything. So yeah, I think those first 3 especially are going to go fast.
Right.
And I will say, having just been on the Fantasy for the Eastern Caribbean, that is Tortola and the British Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then Castaway Cay, that itinerary was amazing. I would go back time and time again on that itinerary. I just absolutely loved it. And now I leave in 15 days and I'll be back on the Fantasy again. So I'm kind of glad I'm getting my Fantasy fill this year. Also Eastern Caribbean, but this time it'll be San Juan, which is one of the ports that some of the Treasures itineraries are going to, but also be in Phillipsburg, St. Martin, and Castaway Cay, which of course I just absolutely love. So I can't say anything but great things about that Eastern Caribbean itinerary. Like I just really loved it. Like I could go monthly, I'd be happy. I mean, of course I'd be happy, but I would do it again and again. Like, that's what I mean. It was just we had an amazing time and it was beautiful. I fell in love with Tortola. I could move there and be happy, I think.
Sounds good.
Right? Let's go.
Yeah, well, and this announcement came today because it was supposed to be a week ago. And then with the hurricane quickly moving in on Florida, it got delayed a week, which means that booking starts much sooner than normal when something like this is announced. So that is that's really making people look extra fast about all of what they're thinking about too. So I think we shared those dates on our Facebook group, or we will if we haven't yet, but we have all of those too. So that's exciting. So if you're thinking about it, or, again, it doesn't have to be one of those first sailings. Anytime a new ship or anything new comes out, there are people who've been waiting. So
Right.
as we talk about Disney Cruise Line a lot, the sooner you look or the further out you're thinking, but it'll be exciting because this is pretty crazy that it's happening right around the holidays too. But if you want to be on our list, let us know. We'd be happy to start looking for you and helping you plan.
I know. So if you are a Pearl Castaway Club member, so that's 25. Is that 25? No, I don't. I keep them straight because Pearl is
We're still learning.
Yeah.
and so that Pearl can book September 12th. So that's what, Tuesday, September 12th. Wednesday, September 13th, my birthday, is when Platinum Castaway Club members can book. That Thursday, September 14th, is when Gold Castaway Club members can book. And then it won't be until next week they will have a booking window for DVC members and Adventures by Disney insiders. So folks who have been on an ABD who don't already meet one of those other categories. And then Silver books September 19th, and then it opens to the general public September 20th. And so that's a wide range before it opens to the general public. So we'll see what happens before then. I think if you're unfamiliar with Disney cruising, normally for most staterooms other than concierge, you put down a 20% deposit. That deposit is usually refundable. It is not for the maiden voyage. And so if you're looking to go on that maiden voyage, December 21st, 2024, that one, if you put down that 20% deposit, that's it. You are committed, or else you would lose that deposit if you're no longer able to sail. So just something to keep in mind and to think about. But boy, that would be a fantastic sailing. Over the Christmas holidays, you move straight in, have that new sailing and Christmas on a ship would be wonderful. But then the sailing after that is still during, most winter breaks. And so that's going to be Saturday, December 28th to Saturday, January 4th, I want to say, 2025. So 24 into 25. So still that one's going to go so fast because families who are looking to travel during school break times, most schools, because of when New Year's and Christmas fall, are off that full time period. So we'll see what happens.
So definitely, if you're thinking about it, reach out to one of us, because especially that first one is not the second one.
Yeah, and we do have access to very preliminary pricing. So base level, entry level pricing at each inside Ocean View veranda concierge level. So we can't see the nuance at all within it, but we can see when it opens to the public, or when it opens to Pearl, what that pricing is going to be. So if you want to just get a basic benchmark of what to expect, reach out. We can let you know that too.
Lots of exciting. Is that everything we learned about? I don't know. I only watched the thing twice. I'm like, Jen.
I know. Well, there was so much. Zootopia. I don't know if we mentioned
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
That'll
Yes.
be so cute. So
Did you mention?
we didn't talk about Zootopia.
Oh yeah.
The
So the
theming
sweet
there.
shop is a sweet shop.
Oh,
Zootopia.
I love that movie.
I love
me
that.
too.
That's
Yeah, they picked such good ones. Like, of course, I think most of Disney.
I thought really unexpected ones, like not ones I was thinking necessarily. So I thought that was great. Like I was still looking at that, and then they move on to the next thing. I'm like, hold on.
Did you feel like they went through it really fast, right? Which of course it did. We can go back and watch it, right? But also, I went back and looked at the map right? That they had given us as clues ahead of time. And I'm like, well, there's still so much there that like we don't know about. So with D23 coming this weekend, which is like Disney likes to roll big announcements out. I'm kind of hoping we at least get like another thing or two, maybe.
Like the show. What show are you going to give us?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but the jumbo suites. So again, if you're familiar with the Wish, if you've been on the Wish and you've been to Joy's Sweet Shop, it'll be jumbo suites from Zootopia, which, you know, of course, was a fun part of the plot of Zootopia to begin with. So we've seen what that looks like because it's in the movie already. So that was pretty fun. And then the Aqua Mouse is
Aqua Mouse.
returning with
The
a different
Aquamouse, yes,
story.
but with a different
Temple of the
movie that
Golden
they'll
Egg is the
yeah.
is the adventure story on the
Yeah.
Aqua Mouse. So
Yeah.
yeah. I know.
Everything. What else
But
do
I
we learn?
guess, yeah, I mean, I
think
think pretty much what we've learned
Yeah.
about the treasure. What I do
Mhm.
want to say about cruising in general, though, is I've had folks reaching out for spring break cruises, for summer cruises, and there are some dates that are really packed already. Those
Mhm.
early June dates, first few weeks in June, everyone wants to travel as soon as school gets out. And so some of those sailings are really packed already. Spring break around Easter. Those sailings are, again, slim pickings in some
Yeah,
cases.
same for of course Disney is opening a new private island, Lighthouse Point. Open its inaugural cruise. So right this time. It's the end of June. And we're actually going to be on the Magic for my 50th birthday next August. And our cruise is almost sold out next August.
Because it's the first, or no, it's a double dip.
It's a double dip, yep. So we'll be at Castaway Key, and Lighthouse Point. So I'm super excited about that. To compare them, I mean, it looks like they're going to be different and similar. So I'm excited to get to do that in one cruise. But yeah, like I said, it's almost totally sold out. I think the inaugural cruise, I had a family of 33 people want to go on the inaugural cruise. Contacted me like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, sorry, no.
Yeah. I
No.
would love to make that happen for you.
But there was 6 rooms left 2 weeks ago when I looked. So yeah, and they weren't rooms that they would fit in. So sorry, no.
Right.
Here,
Let me
yeah, a
give you
lot
this
of
other option.
right. That's what I said. I was like, as a matter of fact, there's this big cruise. Which of course was the one that we were just on, because I can't stop talking about how fantastic it was.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, people don't expect Disney cruises to book that far in advance. And I was watching the news this morning just about broad travel in general. And they were saying that if you don't have your, winter through spring break really squared away pretty much by the end of this month until the, early October, maybe, you're missing out. You're going to end up paying twice as much. I mean, I think that's very likely the case already. But when it comes to Disney, things book up even further. So if you're looking at spring break, in a lot of cases, you're already a little late. And so just as long as you're flexible, you're fine. We're good if you're flexible around Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever works for you. But if you've got very specific and especially very high-end needs, a lot of those book up very far in advance. Special suites, larger accommodations, they're limited. There are far fewer of them. And so they sometimes are gone, within the first week of reservations opening, last May, for example, for Disney World 2024. So if you're flexible, we can find something for you. But if you are looking that far out, you want some bigger accommodations for a larger family, especially the activities, now is the time to start exploring that and to reach out.
And I also think if
although
you're
speaking
open, yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Back in door. Yeah. I'm working with some clients who are thinking about Disney and Universal, and maybe it's a longer trip, and it's, really being open to letting us see what's out there. And again, for some people, they'd rather stay at one property, say you stay at Disney and then you're going to go over to Universal for a couple of days. Sometimes, there's great deals sometimes that we can find, or combinations that if you were just trying to go to one place, you couldn't do it, but maybe you could do two, or vice versa.
Great.
But if you start, I always start with my clients, like, to start with a big funnel and then we narrow it down, because in some ways it's great if you come to us and know exactly what you want to do. Sure, it makes our life easier. It also can make it harder for you if that's where your expectations are and that's the only thing. When you're really telling us, what bed setup really matters to you, or what parks do you like, that we can help you too. And that's fun.
Right.
All of our free services really help. But yeah, I think people, we've talked about this for years. Since the pandemic, especially airline flights are, we're continuing to see those rise, and they are rising all over the board too. So the days of super cheap, they're there, just depends, but you really do need to be planning further out if you're thinking about taking a big family, or this is your big trip, things like that.
Yeah. Well, and also speaking of Disney and Universal together, I think, they release things in part. And so sure, Universal opened reservations before Disney, but we hardly have anything. We've got rooms and tickets. We don't have any of the extras, probably won't know about any of the extras until December. And so you do have to be flexible, with your budget still, especially if you want some of those extras and you're wanting to do Disney and Universal. We have most of the pieces from Disney now. We still only have the bare bones from Universal. And that's, specifically Disney World, Universal Orlando. Universal Hollywood is not even open all the way into 2024 yet. So they're open through, I think, the end of April. And then that's it. And so we're still waiting probably a few more months until we get further on, but Disneyland is open for the whole year. So especially there, it's not uncommon for folks to actually move because they're so far away. So they'll spend some time at Universal Hollywood, some time at Disneyland, because it's a long drive, especially during rush hour. You can plan your Disneyland portion of your trip, and I recommend that you do and get that locked in at least tentatively, because anything can be changed. But then, still you have to be patient on that Universal end of the spectrum, and and know that you might have to make some decisions and change some things around later. And then I guess in other Disney news, we still don't have Disneyland Paris beyond the end of March. And so probably end of September is when we'll be able to start booking, then April through March. So April 2024 through March 2025. That's how they open their schedules. But I have a whole slew of people just reaching out saying, is it there? Do we have it yet? Do we have it yet? I'm almost positive last year it was September 29th when we were able to book Disneyland Paris for their next 12-month cycle. So that's not even out yet too. So all of these products open with different windows as well. And we keep track of that. So if you are interested, reach out, get on our list, because, I will let the folks know on my list, when their, chosen location is open for booking. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And there are so many moving parts. And we do know at some point in time, we'll hear an official announcement that sometime in 2024, the Disneyland Paris Hotel. So this is their flagship hotel. It's sort of like the Grand Floridian. You walk under it to get into Disneyland Paris Park. That's reopening sometime in 2024, but it was going through a top to bottom, inside and out, complete gut and refurb. So no one knows, what this looks like yet, but we should know very, very soon. So very excited to see what that looks like and to wear our prices out. We'll see what that looks like after they've got that out there.
So many things like on the horizon, like, we're talking about things that we found out today and that, is going on, but Disney has 2 more ships that it is launching in 2024.
And 27, I think.
Yeah. Right. 25 and 27.
I think.
I don't know. Now I'm like, what year are we in?
Unless they got pushed back, but I think it was still originally 25 and 27 when those were supposed to come out.
Yeah. So there's that. And then Alani is now open, right, for all of 2024.
All of 2024. Discounts are still available through the end of December, but they are so limited. They are limited. With Alani, if you want a vacation with a discount, you need to get on that the moment they're released, because those discounts, they are gone. And, you need to book what you really think your trip is going to be, and know that if you need to extend it, I'm running into that with someone right now. I would love to help them extend their trip with this amazing discount that they have, and it's not possible. And it's not, I mean, it's a week in December that isn't a holiday week. It's not over Thanksgiving. It's not, a super busy time to travel, but the resort's full because of the fact that these discounts are amazing. And of course, just with every other property, they don't discount every room. They only discount a small subset. And so sure, you can pay full price, or if you had planned ahead, you could get 25% off, which is a lot of money. So that's a big deal for your trip. So yeah.
That's a really good point about, so for like Disney World, Disneyland, if we're talking about booking, far in advance, and then if a promotion does come out that your room does qualify for, there is the ability for us to adjust it to the promotion. But again, you have to respond kind of quickly, because some of them go very fast, because like you said, they're only for a limited amount of rooms. It's not every room at that resort, kind of thing. So I think people sometimes miss that. They're like, oh, but I had it booked and like it was available right a week ago.
Right.
So
right. Well, it's especially the case when folks want to make changes. And so I have a lot of people who say, well, I want to book this now, but if this comes out with a discount, let me know. And I'm like, no, I mean, I would love to be able to let you know, but it might be gone by the time I let you know and then you respond. So what's your price point? If it meets that, do you want me to automatically make that change, or do you want to stick with what you've got? And so that's, kind of the game we have to play, but that's how fast they go. If promotions are released at 4:00 in the morning, I'm working on them at 4:00 in the morning. If you're not open at 4 and that thing fills at 5, that's the way it goes sometimes. So that's how fast some of these things change, and it's heartbreaking because I really want to save people money and get them what they want, but
right,
as proactive as we can be, the better in those circumstances.
Well, we always seem to have more Disney news typically, so we'd be remiss, even though the three of us, and it's Christy has pulled out her Disney decorations that are not Universal, but Halloween Horror Nights are coming. And we're all going to hold back our excitement because, again, you will not get me to ever do it. But
I've been watching a lot of videos about Halloween Horror Nights, and I still don't know if I can handle it. Like, I know that they can't touch you, but they
no.
But they look.
I would be afraid I would touch them in a not so nice way.
Even appealing.
Right, those instincts.
No. So the first one was Friday night. Friday night, right?
I think so.
Yeah, sometime in the last few days.
Yeah, September.
The weekend even went by like a blink.
Right.
Not even like a regular haunted house, let alone like.
No, Mickey's not so scary. These guys are much more my speed. Like, yeah, they're my friends. Like, no. Well, and when we were on our trip to Universal last spring break, so a year and a half. Oh my gosh, was it a year and a half ago? It's insane. Oh well, anyway, she was talking about it, right? That either she or her husband, one or the other, was one of the actors for it, and like how they just like love really scaring people, and I was like, no, thank you. My speed.
But I know we're the minority because most people love being scared and love Universal movies and love the whole idea of that. So that's something that's appealing to you.
There's a Stranger Things house. They look incredible. Yeah. I mean, the amount of time and effort and energy and talent that goes into these houses, there's no comparison. There's no comparison at all if that's what, something that you're looking for. So
like, I don't even think I want to walk around. Like, some of the snacks looked really great, right? Let's talk about what's important to Christy. Like, the snacks and the drinks looked really good, right?
Just don't scare me.
Like, I just want to, I'm here for the snacks. That is all.
I know.
Here for the snacks. Don't scare me, or like something
else.
Like
Nothing else.
I know, but I'm gonna miss Halloween Horror Nights. I'm gonna miss the Christmas, unfortunately, because my next trip to Universal is right in between. It's like November 7th through the 11th, I think is when I'll go there. So they start their Christmas celebration the Monday after that. So I'm going to miss that, but hopefully we'll have some of the decorations up and I can get some pictures, and
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be warm enough for a little Volcano Bay time, because we know it's important to me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but there's something for everyone even right now at Universal. So you can go with your whole family, maybe your adult teens, or your older teens are going to love Halloween Horror Nights, but your younger kids aren't even invited. And so bring them to the water park, hang out at the resorts. They've got some wonderful spaces at the resorts. Or pop by Disney, I mean, they're all so close on, in Orlando. So
Right.
you can
And I
do
think one thing too, and I don't think we've talked about it in a while too, and just that there aren't as many Universal resorts as like when you compare it to Disney, but I just think the options there are so good in terms of tiers, or if you're trying to sleep a family with, when they say we want a separate bedroom or we want enough beds, or if you're a family of 5 like we are, things like that. So there's a lot of great options that I think are just people just don't know about because Universal just doesn't promote it the same way.
Yeah.
But those give you some great perks to do that. So it's really worth checking into it. And I feel like Universal does a better, they'll do those promotions where it's 2 park days free if you buy 3. Like you're not going to see that other places. And we all love Volcano Bay. I mean, that water park is worth the trip itself. If we said it once, you've said it 100 times, and there's a reason. But there's just a lot of things there to be thinking about too, that I think all ages would really enjoy.
Well, I'm hoping that Epic Universe, so Universal is building another park. So there's a brand new park that's supposed to be opening in 2025. I think that's still their target. And I mean, it looks like that's supposed to have even a little bit more of a family friendly focus. And we know Universal has some bigger rides. They don't have as much for younger kids. They're really working on it. They've got the Minion Blast. That whole Minion space is new, and they're really working on, focusing on families. They've got, of course, Seuss Landing, which is very family friendly, and then there are some things that are sort of in between. Lots of great roller coasters. So hopefully when they open Epic Universe, they'll have a whole lot more with Mario and all of that other fun stuff. That's more, for the whole family. And when they do, just knowing that they've got some of those really affordable accommodations that are for, larger families, but also having like the Minion Suite, the Jurassic Park Suite. There are not very many of them. They are really hard to book, and they are awesome. I mean, for the Minions in the Jurassic Park, for the family suites at the Endless Summer, there are plenty of those to go around, and you can feasibly, fit what a family of 6 with small kids, I think, come into those spaces. But to even have, a separate room for mom and dad, and have the kids out there, that's nice, to have that space. So yeah, so we'll see what that looks like. But and there'll be more announcements about Epic Universe coming out here as well. So yeah.
No, I'm interested to see, especially with the new Mario everything out in Hollywood, like if they're going to bring any of that into Epic Universe, like similar.
Don't they? They have to. They've already built it.
It's so popular. Like people are just wanting to add Universal onto their California trips just for a day,
just for
for that. So yeah, I would think they absolutely would have to. So
yeah, because let's face it, their Harry Potter world it pales in comparison. They only have Hogsmeade. And without Diagon Alley, I mean, you just can't, I don't know. I don't understand how you can just have Hogsmeade. You have to have both. So they don't have, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. I mean, like, if you want to see Harry Potter world, that is Universal Orlando. Yeah. Hands down. That's what you get. It
really is amazing. Like when we went last year, it was the first time that I had seen the new Harry Potter areas, and new-ish, like new as into the last time before that I'd been at Universal, and I was like, the theming was just amazing, like top to bottom. Like I just thought you feel like you're stepping into the books or the movies, like either one. Like I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. Whereas Universal Hollywood, that is your working studio. And so that's just a completely different feel for a park. But then they also have the Super Mario world, which is awesome. I mean, it looks awesome. So
Yeah.
hoping to get that in the docket in January when I go to Disneyland. But
Mhm.
gosh, I guess, I mean, new Disney news, Moana, a Journey of Water inspired by Moana is opening in Epcot very, very soon. We don't have an official date, but I had the chance to go see it a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know what I expected, but it's great. It's wonderful. I mean, it's a walk-through experience that is very interactive, with the water, but you can stay dry, you can get wet. It's for the whole family though, not just for little kids. Of course, little kids are going to have a blast in that space. Without a doubt, your kid will be drenched, even if it's 50 degrees out, because we know kids. But so probably will I. So you can, I mean, there are places where, you put your hands up and the water splashes up. And if you've got a bunch of people, you can actually make waves on the ocean in this, huge space. And so it's interactive, not just with yourself, but with other people. I can't say.
I love how interactive it was. I didn't really have any expectation for it other
Right.
than like the glimpses that we'd seen, right, of like Tafiti and stuff like that. That's the only expectation I had. So as you started sending us pictures and videos, and especially with how interactive it was, I was super surprised, like in a good way, how neat it was. And then I was thinking, gosh, on some really hot days, that whole space is just going to be amazing. And then I don't think we shared it, but Jen took this great video of getting water dumped on her head, and it was hot the
Just
day
because
that
of
you
where
were
I was
there.
standing on purpose.
Yep. So I was like, oh, I bet that felt great. I'm super excited to see it. I get to go with my daughters. I think we're going on the 21st because I think cast previews and the 22nd is the last day of cast previews. They have not announced an opening date yet. And I keep asking my Epcot source, and either she won't tell me, which is possible, even though I like to remind her that one, I paid for her college education, and two, I brought her into this world. She's really big on that keeping secrets, and I think she just does it.
And she should, because that's what is expected of her.
Absolutely should, but there's the whole I'm your mother kind of thing. But I think she also knows that I like to share, so probably right. But my guess, and it's totally guess, not based on any kind of factual anything whatsoever. Epcot's anniversary, of course, is October 1st. So I'm thinking, gosh, they have to have it open in time for that. It's, like 9 days after cast previews end. They haven't announced an annual pass preview. So there's my guess, like soft opening the week before after cast previews end, and then fully open on the 1st. That's my guess with no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah. I've heard lots of things from different people who are speculating about the space that doesn't fit in Epcot or does fit in Epcot or whatever. It is right next to the Living Seas Pavilion. I mean, right adjacent to it on that walkway. So it fits very well in that Living Seas, where the Nemo ride is and Coral Reef Restaurant and things like that. But then the whole feel of it, when I was walking through, I almost had flashbacks weirdly to, like, if you remember, like the 90s, the Journey into Imagination with Figment, the original one, with that whole upstairs area that was completely interactive, and it was overwhelmingly interactive. It was just so wonderful. Everywhere you looked, there was something that was interesting to everybody, adults and kids. And I got the same feeling for this. And I miss that so much from the original Figment and Journey into Imagination area. And so I feel like this is the spirit of that, just with the Moana and the water theme. I mean, something for everybody, very interactive, Easter eggs everywhere. You can have a great time there. So, I mean, I think it, as much as things change and change is hard, this really harkens back to, the original spirit of Epcot, where it's, educational and interactive, and something that everyone can, touch and feel and learn from and have a great time doing together.
It's so funny. So I love Figment. Like, Figgy is one of my favorite things, and I do think it's from being a kid with the original Figment and Dreamfinder and everything. So I'm super excited that he will be coming.
Yeah, well, they've closed down who is not meeting anymore. Someone's not meeting anymore. Is it Joy and Sadness, Vanellope maybe. They're
Vanellope.
on the Vanellope meet and greet, and then Figment is coming in. They're changing it
Yeah.
to the Figment meet and greet. So that's going to be
Yeah.
there in a short
Yeah,
period.
so I'm super excited, but I am going, okay, like which Figment are we gonna get? Because you can't have the original Figment without Dreamfinder, so wishful thinking probably, but
Right.
again, that's my child self going, oh my gosh, but I love the Figment ride. So for people to say it's cheesy, of course it's cheesy. Like, but it's fantastic. Just
That's part of the fun.
right.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I always like to go through and be like, oh look, this balloon needs blown up in his or like whatever. So super excited. Like I love this big change to Epcot, although I am ready for all the walls to be down again, but I am excited once this opens, so much will be reopened there in that main area. And I think that whole area has always been so interactive. So I think you nailed it, like with this being so interactive, it is kind of like the same feel that area has always been.
And boy, it sure feels like those structures are getting darn close. You know, you just feel like that stage looks ready to go. The buildings look like they just need some cosmetic work, like everything on the inside's done, and we just need to figure out, you know, the exterior of those properties. And so hopefully within the next year, maybe a few months, we'll see a more completed Epcot too, because it's a great park. One of the
I
best.
feel like every time I go, it's like, where are the walls at now?
I know they move. The walls move. I guess it probably, because we're, you know, wrapping up our hour here. The last thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention when we were talking about Disneyland is that the new Villas Tower at the Disneyland Hotel is opening in just a few weeks, end of September. It'll be welcoming new guests, and the nice thing about Villas is that they are owned by the Disney Vacation Club timeshare arm of Disney. But before they sell all of that, there's even more allotment available on the cash side. And so it's easier as, you know, a guest who isn't part of the Disney Vacation Club, who isn't interested in the timeshare piece, to be able to book those rooms. And so they're very bookable. There seems to be a lot of availability into 2024 for those villas. And so if you are interested in villas, and so that those are spaces that will have, you know, a kitchen and the 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, and they have tower, or they'll have basically, I think they're calling tower studios or duo studios is what they're calling them. So there isn't an actual bed, it's a Murphy bed. It's just for 2 adults. And then the standard studios will have a queen bed and a queen Murphy bed that we're used to at a lot of the Disney World properties too. But yeah, those are coming in line really soon. And I get to experience I've got a studio villa booked for late January. So I'll get to see what those look like in person very soon and share a little bit more about that personal experience too. But if anyone else is going sooner, let me know, because they look gorgeous. Just all the renderings again look wonderful. And on other Disneyland news, we're still waiting to see what the final completion date will be for the Paradise Pier renovation to Pixar Place. A lot of the common areas look pretty well done. I mean, they're still working on some restaurant spaces. The pool looks pretty well done, but it sounds like they've got a lot of work yet to do in their rooms. And so I was really hoping that would be, you know, early 2024. I don't know. I mean, I think it might be mid 2024.
Yeah, the spaces look super cute. Like I am super excited to have a Pixar theming here in the States. So I was hoping to check it out when we were there in early January. We still will go over so I can see like where the work is at that point, because we don't have a completion date like Jen said, we don't have one yet. If not, I think I'm going to be back at Disneyland in June, hopefully for a repeat of Pride Night. No word, but that's what we're planning. So hopefully we'll stay at then Pixar Pier. It's kind of confusing. Like, couldn't they have picked like a second word that was
Totally
different?
name.
Right. So I'm like Paradise Pier, Pixar
Pixar
Pier.
Place. It's Pixar Place because Pixar Pier is the land in California Adventure Park.
I was calling it the wrong thing then.
Pixar Place, right, is the hotel resort. Paradise Pier is what it is now. That's what I believe, because it's the whole continuation of the Pixar theming, because they've got that walkway that gets into Disney California Adventure Park right at Pixar Pier. They're over by the Little Mermaid and World of Color and all of that good stuff, which is an amazing entry point for Disney California Adventure Park. I mean, right by the
It
Incredible.
makes it hard for me to stay anyplace else, having stayed at the Grand Californian and had that little, what you feel like is like a back alley in the California Adventure, right? Or like you stand at the deck and you seriously feel like you could toss something down on and hit somebody easily, which, I mean, I don't suggest doing that. I'm just saying, like, it feels like you could, or like, honestly, like reach out and touch a ride. Like, I can't think of what that ride is, that crazy one that like the Goofies, what the heck is
Sky
that?
School or
Yeah, like
yeah.
it's like right there. Like I feel like
That
I
is
could just reach
crazy.
it and touch it, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it's just amazing. Like I love it.
I know Disneyland is so compact. When people, ask me how much time and what does it look like and what do we need to get around, I'm like, we need to completely reset your expectations if you're coming from Disney World, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because folks come from Disneyland and they expect to be able to get around Disney World very quickly, and you just can't.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
Yeah, I was talking to
So-
somebody about that earlier. They had been at Disneyland last year for the first time and now are planning to come to Disney World. And they're like, but you can't walk in between, right? I'm like, yeah, no, you can't.
Even if you could, I mean,
Doesn't compare. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as the crow flies, maybe,
Right.
but this is
Right.
not the way Florida roads are completed.
Right. Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, with so many wonderful things on the horizon, so many new things happening right now. It's a great place, a great time to plan a trip. So we're here if you need us, if you have any questions, if you're just looking to explore. I mean, you're not bugging us. I get that a lot too. I don't want to bother you, I'm not sure. That's what I'm here for. I know this stuff off the top of my head. I can send you resources and help you get started, along the path of what you think you might want to do. Or, and you might think, oh, I need this right now. And then you decide, you know what, this is better next year. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But you never know if you don't ask. And then so many people ask these questions, but they don't want to bother me because they're probably not going to book. And I'm like, but you don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
you're too far. You're probably going to miss something important if you try to do it on your own. If this is, a first time trip, or even if it's, first time in a long time, things have changed. So ask.
We feel like one more thing, like
planners,
we
so-
have talked about planning in advance, right? But it seems like kind of lately, I've had a lot of people who have been pretty last minute, like a month or two, maybe 3 out. And that is still possible for Disney World, especially. And there's some great rates out for the holiday time. Like I absolutely love Christmas at Disney, and not just because we're there almost every year, because otherwise I can't see my daughters for Christmas and that's terrible. But just like the feeling that is already magical just gets amplified with the holiday season. And there's some fantastic deals out. If you're going, gosh, maybe we'd really like to go over the kids, winter break, like absolutely reach out, like, just kind of remember also maybe to be a little bit flexible.
But you're right. I've had plenty of people reaching out for last minute Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party trips in October. Those are happening. No problem.
Yeah.
Most of the dates in October are still available, surprisingly, but they're going fast. September's almost gone. So September, probably not. But there's still quite a bit available in October, though I expect those to book up very quickly. But if you're still thinking, I want to go to this Halloween party this year, let's get a weekend trip on there because you're going to love it. I mean, I've had
It is
people
amazing.
buy one night and they're like, you know what? We had to go to guest services and see if we could get the next one too, because we wanted to go. I've had multiple.
Well, that's funny.
people
So
this
we're gonna be,
year, twice,
so I will be at Disney World twice next August, because my youngest also turns 18, and so that's what we're doing for his birthday. And we're hoping that next year's first Mickey's Not So Scary falls on the same day it has the last couple of years, so that we'll get to do it. But then I was like, wait, so am I not going to do it for my birthday trip? Then I'm like, oh, I think I might have to go twice.
You do. It's early. I mean,
Well, it'd be totally different, like more like a family, time for the first one, and then, like friends.
it's never, one party is never enough time. It just isn't.
never.
Every time I go, especially the Halloween party, I'm like, oh, I didn't get to do the character meet and greets. We did X, Y, and Z, and we saw this, and we had the, but we always miss something.
Yeah.
We realized we missed some of the trick or treat trails that we love to do just because of the atmospheres, and we were there the whole party again this year. So 2 is not too many in a trip. It really isn't.
Too many. And if not, of course, there's also Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which it snows on Main Street.
Right.
Like, what more do you want? But you get a whole lot more. And then Hollywood Studios this year has a new holiday party that we will be at. Jen and I will be at.
November
The first
11th.
one. Yes,
sold
and they're
out,
kind of
so
keeping
let's
it
see
kind
what
of
it looks
hush
like.
hush. Like they've only shared a little bit, and it's another thing. I'm like, I want more, so I'm super excited to be going to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something new and exciting and different. And
Something.
it's,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you're going to love it regardless of how long or, when you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. I think we're over time, huh?
I think we are over time. Just barely.
Fast, as always. All right. Anything else for the good of the order tonight?
No,
Okay. It's been so nice chatting with an exchange student visiting in October, if all goes well. My daughter wants to do an exchange program, and then I'll be at Disney World and Universal for 15 days in November.
Mhm.
Yeah. So see you again in Thanksgiving.
We'll try to fit it in. Yeah. I'm moving twice. So there's a lot happening. So
Right.
hopefully maybe you'll even see us all together.
Let alone, like, have you
nice.
set a wedding date yet, Catherine?
No,
No. Didn't
no, this house stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Life.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm a
hard enough.
senior and
Yeah.
yeah, you
Right.
just
So
never
much.
know. So
Yeah.
no, not yet.
That's a lot. That's a lot of change and a lot of
There's a lot that's been happening this year. Yeah.
Yeah. All wonderful things, just all
All
the
good
at the same
things,
time.
but crazy. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Oh, fun. Well, thank you so much for those of you who've been watching. Really appreciate it if you watch this in repeat later on. Please, again, hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit the like button. That really helps us out a lot. And we will continue to post and share stories and try to get YouTube videos up as much as possible. I have several that I need to work on from August and get those up of the different room tours that, I was able to take advantage of, while I was away. Of course, there'll be more from our travels as well. So please stay tuned. Go on over to our Facebook page, Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears, also on Instagram. TikTok, we've got some fun TikToks out there too, and we will try to keep you informed with all of the fun Disney and Universal and beyond news of the day. So thanks so much, and I hope to see you very, very soon, and until next